Hi everyone, so continue with the presentation. Okay, so let us look at the scientific contributions of Joshua Fire. Okay, scientific contributions of Joshua Fire's book on memory. So Foyer links mnemonic training to psychological research on expertise. He argues that memory champions are created through training, not giftedness. Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit more about what he actually propounds in the memory book. Okay, so he talks about the practical everyday mnemonics. So the memory book remains one of the most practical books for ordinary users. Main techniques in the book Main techniques in the book includes name-face association, name-face association, number memory, speech memory, reading retention. Okay. Strength of the new book lies in its simplicity. So to remember, uh, to remember Mr. Baker requires imagining flour covering his face. So you imagine uh, an image to go along with the name. Okay. Immediate visual absurdity strengthens recall. Okay, so educational value. The book is useful because it shows that memory training improves confidence. Many students discovered they forget because they never encoded meaningfully. Mm, Unlimited memory, so modern applied memory training. 1 second. 1 second, please. So many students discover that they forget because they never encoded meaningfully. Unlimited memory. Okay, so let's look at modern applied memory training. So unlimited memory offers highly structured exercises. Okay. Kevin Horsley, who is a memory grandmaster, focuses on practical learning context. So let us look at what are the practical learning contexts that Kevin Horsley talks about. So the following are the key ideas. Okay. Um, the following are the key ideas. He argues memory depends on concentration, observation, association, and review. Okay. So we'll go through them. Okay, so let's look at them. Kevin Horsley, okay, is globally recognized memory expert, speaker, and author, best known for his work on cognitive performance, learning strategies, and memory enhancement. Kevin Horsley gained prominence after becoming an international grandmaster of memory, and his ideas center on practical, trainable techniques that anyone can use to improve memory, learning speed, and mental clarity. His philosophy challenges the common belief that memory is a fixed talent and instead emphasizes that it is in fact a skill that can be systematically developed. So let's look at the first argument. Memory is a skill and not a gift. So one of Horsley's foundational ideas is that memory is not an innate ability limited to a selected few, but a skill that can be learned and improved with practice. Many people assume that those with exceptional memory are naturally gifted. Horsley rejects such a notion, arguing that there is no such thing as bad memory, only an untrained memory. Such an idea is empowering because it shifts responsibility and possibility onto the learner. Instead of blaming genetics or age, individuals can adopt techniques and exercises to improve their recall. According to Horsley, just like physical fitness, mental fitness improves with structured training. Okay, the importance of attention and focus. So Horsley emphasizes that poor memory is often not a memory problem at all. It is an attention problem. If information is not properly encoded in the first place, it cannot be recalled later. He highlights that in the modern world, distractions, especially from digital devices, weaken our ability to focus. The key message is simple: you cannot remember what you never noticed. To improve memory, Horsley suggests practicing mindfulness and concentration, eliminating distractions when learning, actively engaging with information instead of passively consuming it. Attention acts as the gateway to memory. Without it, even the best techniques are ineffective. Visualization and imagination. So one of the most powerful tools in Horsley's system is a visualization. He argues that the brain remembers images far more effectively rather than abstract information such as words or numbers. Such a thing is rooted in how the brain processes sensory input. Visual and emotional experiences are more deeply encoded than plain data. Horsley teaches people to convert information into vivid mental images. For example, instead of remembering a name like Baker, imagine a person covered in flour baking bread. To remember a list, create exaggerated and unusual mental pictures linking the items. The more vivid, exaggerated, emotional, and unusual the image is, the more memorable it becomes. Next, you have the use of association. So, closely related to visualization is the principle of association. Horsley explains that the brain works through connections. New information is easier to remember when it is linked to something already known. He encourages learners to connect new knowledge to existing knowledge, build chains of associations, use stories to link unrelated items. For instance, to remember a sequence of objects, one might create a story where each item interacts with the next. Such an event transforms random data into a structured narrative, making recall easier. Alright. Also, there are things like chunks. So uh, another key way to remember is by breaking large amounts of information into smaller, manageable units. For example, a long number becomes easier to remember when grouped into smaller numbers. Complex topics can be divided into categories or themes. Chunking reduces cognitive load and makes the information easier to process and recall. Horsley stresses that the brain prefers patterns and structures over randomness. Emotional engagement enhances memory. So, Horsley highlights that emotion plays a crucial role in memory formation. Events that trigger strong emotions are remembered more vividly and for longer periods. He suggests intentionally adding emotion to learning by making images humorous, creating dramatic sequences, scenarios, and engaging curiosity and interest. Emotion begins to act like a memory glue, strengthening neural connections and improving recall. Okay. So you also have mnemonics for abstract learning. So for example, a common criticism is that mnemonics work only for lists. Okay. But as advanced learners for use them for abstract concepts as well. Okay. So you can actually add images to numbers. Okay, and then combine them into one singular dramatic image. Repetition and spaced learning. So while techniques like visualization are powerful, Horsley also emphasizes the importance of repetition, especially spaced repetition. Instead of cramming information, he advocates reviewing material at increasing intervals. Immediately after learning, after a few hours, the next day, after. Such a method strengthens long-term retention and prevents forgetting. It aligns with cognitive science principles about how memory consolidation works. Okay. Horsley's broader philosophy extends beyond memory into the concept of learning how to learn. He argues that traditional education often focuses on content rather than teaching students how to effectively acquire and retain knowledge. He encourages active learning using multiple senses, teaching others to reinforce understanding. His approach promotes metacognition, thinking about how one learns, which leads to more efficient study habits. Next, you have the role of belief and mindset. So, mindset plays a very critical role in Horsley's teachings. He believes that limiting beliefs about memory can hinder improvement. Common negative beliefs include I have a bad memory, I am too old to learn, I am not smart now, etc. Horsley encourages replacing all of these with growth oriented beliefs. So, for example, he writes, I can improve with practice. My brain is adaptable. I can learn faster using the right techniques. Okay. Such a replacement aligns with the broader concept of a growth mindset where abilities are seen as developable rather than fixed. Okay. Next, you have certain practical applications of memory techniques. So, for example, Horsley emphasizes real world applications of memory techniques rather than abstract theory. His methods can be used in remembering textbooks and lectures, improving exam performance, okay, professional life, so memorizing presentations, retaining client information, learning new skills quickly, and also daily life, which involves remembering names and faces, managing tasks and lists, enhancing general cognitive function. By demonstrating practical value, he makes memory training relevant and accessible. Next, you have speed reading and information processing. So, in addition to memory, Horsley also teaches speed reading techniques. He argues that reading faster when combined with comprehension strategies can significantly enhance learning efficiency. Key principles include reducing subvocalization, which involves silent reading voice, using peripheral vision, and reading in chunks instead of word by word. Okay. He integrates speed reading with memory techniques to create a comprehensive learning system. The brain thrives on novelty, so Horsley stresses that the brain is naturally drawn towards novelty. Unusual or unexpected information is more likely to be remembered, which is why he encourages creating bizarre mental images using humor and exaggeration, breaking patterns during learning. Novelty captures attention and enhances coding, making memory more durable. Okay. Then he makes the argument about consistency and practice. So he says that emphasizing, so he argues, so he emphasizes that improvement requires consistent practice. Memory techniques are not one-time tricks, but skills that develop over time. He encourages daily mental exercises, practicing visualization and association, applying techniques in real life situations. Like physical exercise, cognitive training yields results through repetition and discipline. And so, to conclude, Kevin Horsley's ideas on memory revolve around a powerful and optimistic premise. Anyone can improve their memory with the right techniques and mindset. His approach combines ancient mnemonic strategies with modern cognitive insights, offering a practical framework for learning and recall. Key themes in his work includes memory as a trainable skill, the importance of attention and focus, visualization and association on core techniques, the use of structured systems like the memory palace, emotional engagement and repetition for long term retention, the role of mindset and belief in cognitive performance. Ultimately, Horsley's teachings extend beyond memory into a broader philosophy of personal development. By learning how to learn, individuals can unlock greater potential in education, career, and everyday life. His work serves as a reminder that the brain is highly adaptable and with the right approach, extraordinary mental performance is within reach for anyone willing to practice and apply these principles. Okay. So, what are the limits of the mnemonic system? So, mnemonic systems actually come with a few limits. So, for example, mnemonics are powerful, but they are not sufficient by themselves. They do not replace understanding, repetition, and conceptual learning. Okay. A formula remembered without meaning is fragile. Thus, effective learning combines comprehension, spaced repetition, and mnemonic encoding. Okay. So that is important to take into account. Next, we have one other thing. About. Okay, so we shall talk a little bit more on mnemonics. Uh, so we will go into one of the things that we will talk about. Just 1 second. I'm just going to pause the share for a moment. Okay, and then I should send it to control. Right. So with okay, so practical mnemonics and memory training books. You have a few other books also, which are very useful. So you have how to develop a perfect memory. Okay. So how to develop a perfect memory was written by Dominic O'Brien. Okay, he is a British mnemonist. Okay, an 8-time world memory champion. Okay, a creator of the Dominic system. Okay, the book was published in 1993. So the core ideas of the book are as follows. The book is a complete system for training memory using mnemonics based on techniques used in memory competitions. It teaches how to remember names and places, numbers and dates, lists and facts, speeches and exams, even decks of playing cards. The central message is that memory is trainable through structured techniques, not a natural gift. Okay. Key techniques involved Key techniques involved explained in the book are as follows. The journey method, okay, which is the backbone of O'Brien's system. So it works by you choosing a familiar route, okay, placing mental images along that route, and then recalling by mentally walking through it. Why it works? Because it uses spatial memory, which is naturally very strong, and uses it to organize information in a sentence. For example, if you want to buy something from a shopping list, you can attach those items in the shopping list to the items in your own house. Okay, because you will remember the placement of every object. Then you have the Dominic system, which is the number memory. So one of the most important contributions of the author, converting numbers into letters, people, actions. Okay. Um, then create a visual scene using that person. It transforms abstract numbers into memorable images and stories. Next, you have association techniques. So the brain remembers connections better than isolated facts. That's the argument. So you link new information to something familiar. Then you create chains or stories. For example, to remember, think about the link between dog, milk, and book. Imagine a dog drinking milk while reading a book. Then you have visualization. So Brian stresses if you can see it, you can remember it. Okay, so you have certain rules for strong images, such as exaggerated, funny, or absurd, emotional, colorful. The stranger the image, the stronger the memory. Next, you have remembering names and places. So, practical everyday application includes focus on facial features, converting names into an image, linking image to the face. Next, you have remembering lists. So, it uses a mix of link method and journey method. Such a thing allows recall, okay, inward, in order, backwards, at any position. Memory for speeches. So instead of memorizing word for word, break speech into key points. Assign each point to a location in your memory palace. Okay. Such a reading improves fluency, confidence, and natural delivery. Then you have mental filing systems. So the book introduces systems like mental diary, store future tasks and appointments. Then you have organizing incoming information. So these are early forms of what we now call cognitive organization systems. Then you have the learning academic subject. So O'Brien applies memory techniques to history, which are the visual events, geography, which links places to images, and languages, which associate words with pictures. All of these make learning faster and more engaging. The book also demonstrates memorizing multiple decks of cards, okay, binary numbers, and complex numerical sequences. The structure of the book is in fact practical and divided into chapters like how to remember lists, how to remember names and faces, how to remember numbers, how to remember speeches, how to remember languages, how to recall at exams, how to recall moves in games and competitions. Next, you have unique contributions of the book. So the first component is real competition-based techniques. So unlike many theoretical books, which is this is one is based on world championship methods, proven performance system. Then you have the Dominic system, a major innovation in mnemonic science, widely used by memory athletes at the widely used alternative to the other major system. Then you have the practical orientation. So the book focuses heavily on everyday memory, exams and learning, and real life usability. Then you have step by step training. So it doesn't just explain ideas, it provides exercises, examples, and practice systems. Okay, so now we will actually talk about one other work before we go into the modern educational relevance of memory learning and memory studies. Not memory studies, but how to improve and improve memory. So, the seven signs of memory, okay, how the mind forgets and remembers, is a major work in cognitive psychology that explains why human memory is imperfect. Rather than treating memory flaws as failures, Schachter argues that they are natural byproducts of how memory is designed to function. The central thesis of the book is memory is not a perfect recording device because it is a reconstructive adaptive system shaped by evolution. Because of it, the same processes that allow memory to be flexible, efficient, and usable also makes it prone to errors. Okay. Schachter organizes memory failures into 7 sins, grouped into 3 categories: sins of omission, which includes forgetting, sins of commission, which includes distortion, and sins of intrusion, which includes unwanted memories. So the first one, transience, the sins of forgetting over time. Okay, so core idea, transience refers to the gradual loss of memory over time. Schachter argues that forgetting is not a defect but a necessary feature of memory. The brain is constantly filtering information, retaining what is important and discarding what is not. The key arguments include memories weaken as time passes, especially if they are not revisited. Details fade faster than genuine meaning. The brain prioritizes relevance over accuracy. You may remember the main idea of a lecture but forget exact wording or details. So he goes into further insight into the whole thing. So he says that it connects it to adaptive memory. Forgetting helps prevent overload. It allows brain to focus on useful information. Okay. Without transience, we would be overwhelmed by trivial details. Next, you have absent-mindedness. Okay, the sin of inattention. Core idea, so absent-mindedness occurs when attention is not properly engaged during recording or retrieval, during encoding or retrieval. Key arguments include that memory failures often result from lack of focus and not lack of ability. Divided attention leads to weak memory formation. Everyday forgetfulness, such as losing keys, missing appointments, etc., is often due to these reasons. He goes into further insight and then emphasizes that we forget not because memory fails, but because attention fails. Such thinking aligns with modern concerns about multitasking and digital distractions. He also goes and takes a look at block, which is the tip of the tongue problem. So his argument is that blocking is the temporary instability to retrieve stored information. Information is stored but temporarily inaccessible, according to him. Often it is caused by interference from similar memories. Retrieval cues may be insufficient. So he says further that knowing a person, yeah, blocking shows that memory retrieval is in fact competitive and similar information can interfere with recall. Okay, so this highlights the importance of strong retrieval cues. Then you have misattribution or confusing the source of the memory. Okay, so some event caused you grief, but you attach it to something else. Misattribution occurs when a memory is assigned to the wrong source. The key arguments include people may remember information correctly but misremember where it came from. Memory blends elements from different experiences. Familiarity can in fact be mistaken for truth. Okay, then these are the examples. Believing you read something in a book when you saw it online. Mistaking imagination for real experience. Okay, so the book has serious implications in eyewitness testimony and misinformation. Memory is not just about content; it is also about content which is fragile. Then he looks at the core idea, which argues that suggestibility refers to memory distortion caused by leading questions or misinformation. So these are the following arguments. Memory is highly influenced by external suggestions. Authority figures and repeated questioning can alter recollection. People may incorporate false details into memory. For example, witnesses recalling events differently after hearing others' accounts, and leading questions changing how events are in fact remembered. Are in fact remembered. So, what is the input? Deeper insight. So, Schachter draws on research showing that memory is in fact reconstructive. It can be reshaped after the event. So, when trying to recall something, you might add new data to that which did not actually occur when the event took place. Okay, next you have the bliss of the influence of current beliefs. So the core idea is bias, sorry, not this, bias. Okay, the influence of current beliefs. The bias refers to how current knowledge, beliefs, and emotions distort past memories. Memory is influenced by present attitudes. People reshape memories to fit current identities of themselves. Emotional states affect recall. I always like because I came across them. Remembering past relationships more positively or negatively depending on current feelings. Revising past opinions to match present beliefs. Then you go into a further insight. Chapter identifies types of bias such as consistency bias, okay, aligning past with present. Hindsight bias, where he says, "I knew it all along." That kind of an expression shows hindsight bias. Then you have memory is not static, but it will, you know, it will become, you know, it will become important as and evolving in its importance. That's what I mean. Then persistence, when memory won't go away. So persistence refers to unwanted intrusive memories that are difficult to forget. Okay. Emotionally intense events are strongly encoded. Some memories resist forgetting, can lead to distress or disorders. Okay. The mining of memories by, you know, cultural memories, perhaps individual memories by movie industry is also quite wrong. Okay. Traumatic memories, repeated negative thoughts, embarrassing moments which seem to replay in the mind. Then you have post-traumatic stress disorder. So while most sins involve forgetting, post-traumatic stress disorder involves remembering too much. The central argument is that memory is adaptive. Memory's flaws are actually features. Okay, according to Schachter, he argues that memory and evolved to help us survive. Okay, it prioritizes meaning over detail, relevance over accuracy, uh, flexibility over precision. And then you also have an argument on why memory is not perfect. A perfect memory system would store everything, never forget, never distort. But such a system would be inefficient, overwhelming, and impractical. Instead, human memory is selective, dynamic, and constant. We will look at the constructive nature of memory. Shachter emphasizes that memory is reconstructed, not new. Each time we recall something, we rebuild it, we may alter it, we may mix elements. Such a thing explains false memories, distortions, changes over time. Okay. So, thank you all so much for listening. It was a pleasure talking to you all.